Arrow's an animal guy too. So
Oh,
Arrow,
big
we got the
time.
full 20 if we need it.
So now starting like this, is everybody in the circle here big animal lovers?
Definitely. I love animals. I
Um,
grew up with cats. I haven't had a dog yet, but I think I would like to have a dog as well.
the greatest thing about having a dog is that they listen to your heartbeat and they know when it's time to go for a walk. You're not taking them for a walk; they're taking you for a walk. They take care of you so much, and you just embrace that unconditional walk with nature.
Yeah, I think that's something that's so amazing about having dogs. Like, just a walk a day is so healing and helpful, and helps your mental health. Animals are so amazing.
Being a creative person, how do you tap into that energy in the way that I use meditation as well as I call it my transition walk. When I go for a walk, I go out there to be in transition with nature so that the creativity can be replanted inside the soils of self.
Well, you're my kind of people. Hi.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
That's well said. Yeah. I have to go through. Hi, it's Alexis. I have to go through long processes of nature to tune into my creativity. And I'm creating a podcast, and I literally want my podcast to be in the middle of the woods, like hardcore in nature, or really close to the ocean, because of the purity of energy and like the free flow that comes from that, without being in a congested city with a lot of EMFs and traffic and just all that pollution. Pollutes your channels.
I totally get the forest because I'm in a forest and we're 23 feet above the forest floor. So that means that when the hawks come by, they literally will land in these trees. And I'm sitting here going, I'm not supposed to be here. I don't know how this is even happening. And you get lost in those moments.
That's really magnificent. Where are you?
I'm in South Charlotte, North Carolina, and what we did, we created this forest. It was in 1997. We planted 1,700 trees. We worked with the U.S. Forest Service because I wanted to save the land, and so all of these years have gone by, and this forest is just, oh my God, I love nature.
I'm from North Carolina too.
Well, you get it then. You totally get it.
Oh yeah, I do. Nature is God. Nature is truly God.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I grew up in I was gonna say I grew up in a forest in British Columbia in Canada.
Yep.
And it's just the best. I miss it so much.
And don't you think that reaching out the way that we are as creative people, you guys as actors and things like that, and with your podcasts and stuff, don't you think that that's just nature calling in the way of saying, okay, you've kind of borrowed from me, now you need to give it to somebody who needs it, and maybe they don't like trees, but they're going to like your word.
I like the way you put that. Yeah, that's
I like that thinking. Absolutely. I could say a lot on that, honestly. Giving yourself to the world and letting and sharing what you are with the world, and not being too selfish, I guess, with what you've learned and who you are and your joy, and wanting to spread that in any way you can. Coming from a place of goodness and not a place of narcissism and wounding, like a child who wasn't hugged enough, and then they go off to be famous, and it's just like, oh, I love fame, feed me, like that's a lot of slut. They weren't hugged enough,
So when you step onto a set of a movie such as The Accursed and stuff like that, what goes through you? Because I mean, I understand it's a performance. I totally get it because radio is a performance as well. But you guys always have come across as people that see through that lens and know that there's others on the other side.
Well, yes. What exactly is the question?
No, in other words, the question is that as creative people, it's like you have actors and you have people who understand that we're reaching people, and that it's always when, like with a podcast and stuff like that, people go, so where are your listeners at? You mean my listener? That I talk to one person. I don't talk to a lot of people. And do you find that with movie making as well? Is that that on the other side of that flat screen, there are eyes watching your art in motion?
I don't actually usually think of that, to be honest. You never know what's going to happen with your films or your work. It really depends. Like, it's like once it's done, it's kind of like on to the next one. Yep. It's just a blessing if it gets finished, let alone released, let alone people actually see it. And then if they actually like it.
Well,
Yeah,
you go through that with the podcast as well, because when you release a podcast, you really don't know what the end result is going to be. And it's kind of really freaky weird when something that you did 7 years ago is the hottest thing going. You're going, well, how does this happen?
Yeah, you got to just leave it to God,
Yep.
have trust in the process, but also set intentions and have expectations, but without holding on to them. Like, just set it and then let it go and let the universe deliver it however the universe wants to, and not try to control the outcome.
What was it like to be on the set? Because, I've always been afraid of those, of movies like this, because it's like, okay, what happens if I pick up a spook and it walks with me from this day forward?
Then you're going to need some kind of spiritual cleansing.
somebody.
I can hook you up. I got people.
Oh,
To be honest, I did have a moment before I came out to film in Savannah, Georgia, and I was like, oh, what's it gonna be like on set? Like, is it actually even like the crew? Is it gonna feel kind of off and kind of eerie and kind of uncomfortable? But thankfully I got there, and immediately it was just so light and tone, and everyone was in good spirits, and you would have never known that we were even making a horror film.
Wow.
Aside from action onwards, but it was just the best people to work with, and it felt very light and loving, so totally relieved in that way.
Do you guys get to see the lighting of the sets and things like that? Because, what we see on this side of the film and what you actually experience, they do amazing magic in Hollywood.
Absolutely. And I think, the cinematography that we had for this is just really beautiful. It's the same cinematographer, David Newbert, as Kevin's last film, Willy's Wonderland, and I was super excited because they obviously worked really well together. And so yeah, I think this movie it has a high quality, like it looks high quality,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty, and there's an elegance to it, which is weird because it's a horror film, but there really is a kind of elegance to it.
When you go when you go into a movie theater and you have a horror film such as the Accursed, do you? One of the things that I find fascinating and funny is the way that people will shout out at the screen. I just think that because that's human emotion in action.
Absolutely. That's one of that's one of the beautiful things of going to the movies, going to the theater, is seeing it with an audience and feeling the energy as you go. And I always felt like there truly is a specific bonding of an audience that is watching a horror film, because you're leaving that theater and you kind of look at each other like, whoa, we really just went through something together, like that's dramatic.
Now, when you do a film like this, you're always a student of the craft. What did you guys learn from this?
A lot. Sarah, do you want to go first?
Good question. Okay, let me think.
I learned a few things about knowing where I need to improve in certain areas. I need to I don't know, maybe just connect with the woman I'm going to be in a scene with and have to hurt them and fight them beforehand, and just have a lot of conversations about it. Because if I don't do that, I feel really just really bad having to hurt them in the scene. I have absolutely no problem doing that with men. I love hurting men, but women, it's just it feels very wrong, and that's something I need to get over, because I intend to do a lot of action films and I want to fuck everybody up, not just the guys.
Yeah.
And then another aspect is just more communication within the circuitry before and after, and taking the time to meet your castmates and really tune in with them before filming. But sometimes when it's such a fast, quick moving thing, you're just getting kind of thrown around in every direction and you don't realize that you haven't done that. And it's just something to plant a seed in for the next one,
You bring up a very interesting point about the working with the actors and stuff like that, because I'm a 3rd degree black belt, and I'll never forget being with my sensei, and he challenged me. He says, you need to take on this girl, and I said, it's a girl, dude. And he goes, oh, you're telling me that this girl can't kick your butt? You both have got to learn what's going on here. And then he told me, he says, it's martial arts. It's still part of the arts. It's a showmanship.
Yes. Ouch. I resonate with that. It is an beautiful. I actually think ballet comes from martial arts. I believe that ballet was inspired by martial arts.
I got to tell you, there's a documentary on TV right now, and it's actually the opposite. The martial arts movies came from ballet.
Dude, martial arts is so much fucking older than ballet. What is that movie? What is that documentary?
I'm with you on that.
let me go burst that bubble.
Yeah. Oh, you're so true, because Taekwondo is over 2,000 years old, and you're so right about that. But I was just fascinated that they even made a connection with it.
Right. Well, maybe there's new forms of martial arts being birthed every minute.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to have their own style that they developed. Oh, this is my movement style. This is my blah blah blah, and they just want to be famous and have something named after them, just like the fucking Scientology guy. Basically, Scientology for martial arts.
We are in that season where we want to be scared, but the thing about it is, when it comes to a great haunting movie or a scary movie, I mean, we want them all the time. Are we living off of fear in the way that we like excitement? We're addicted to excitement.
Yes, there's probably more deep down about people's traumas wanting to continue existing in them, because it's an energy sequence, and energy, once it exists, it's like alive, just like anything else, like how Pocahontas says. The rocks are alive, the trees are alive, everything's alive.
Yeah, because it is that electric energy that's moving through you, and it's like, okay, give it to me again. And the thing is that people keep going back and watching it over and over again, knowing what's going to happen in the scene.
Oh yeah, but then at least you know what's happening. Like if I'm watching something super scary, I gotta watch it like without looking at it first, hear all the bad stuff that's gonna happen, and then I can anticipate it, and then watch it with my eyes, and then look away when I know it's gonna be something with knives or something like particularly gruesome. I don't like watching too much gore.
Yeah. How has the industry changed in the way that, because of our binge watching, and I'm addicted to that like you wouldn't believe. Do you find yourself wanting to grow toward a series to where it can be several episodes and several seasons?
Yeah, I like to binge watch too. That's for sure. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
But
it's addiction, just like anything else, though. Sometimes.
No, I'm so with you on that. I mean, because we'll complain about a 2.5-hour movie, but man, we'll sit through 8 episodes of a show.
Well, you get really there's something less pressure, I think, when there's a lot of something. It's like there's less pressure to completely focus and pay attention to, and you can kind of, like for me, I like to play chess. I like to play chess on my iPad online while watching stuff. And if it's a super concentrated movie with quick movements, then like you're gonna miss something important if you look away for 3 seconds. Then that's like frustrating to me, because I have to keep rewinding and stuff like that.
That's me. You like chess. So does Howard Stern. You should take him on. Lord knows he talks about playing chess all the dang time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, big time.
Well, if I ever get on Howard Stern, I will certainly challenge him.
So how do you bring fear to the lens of that camera? Because I would have PTSD way the hell out there if I had to go and be in a fearful moment on a screen.
Sarah?
Yeah, it's so you just have to learn how to let that energy go afterwards. I don't even know how I do it in the moment sometimes. Sometimes it's just I find that physicality really helps me. So just amping myself up and kind of breathing a certain way, that creates more anxiety. And if even if I just start doing that horror scream, it's just something where you just go for it and it happens, and all of a sudden you feel terrified. And yeah, I've just learned ways to kind of release that afterwards, because it's heavy, and I like to go for walks too. That's a great way. Moving my body afterwards is another way to really help me release, or singing, or anything that kind of helps it move along.
Well, speaking of those screams, I can't go to an NBA game or an NFL game because I have to protect my vocal cords. How are you guys protecting your vocals?
I always made sure to drink some tea and honey, and made sure to coat my throat before doing this. It's always kind of nerve-wracking, because you can lose your voice so easily, and like that's not a good thing while you're filming, and you have to show up to set the next day and film.
Yeah.
So Thankfully, we didn't do it too many times. I think we got maybe like 3 good ones for each time that it happened, and we were off.
Wow. So now the podcast, let's talk about that just because I want to promote that. What the podcast can be found where? What is it titled, and how can listeners find it as well?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. All right. Well, my name is Alexis Knapp, and when I launched my podcast, and I already have like 5 exquisite legends lined up, you can find it through my social medias and just by Googling my name and podcast. So thank you for that plug, but I actually haven't launched it yet.
Well, that's good. When you do, I know that the people that that connected us today, what they do is they allow us to talk with podcasters, and so I've created a podcast called Pod Crashing. I love promoting other people's podcasts because
I'd love to talk to you when that time comes. You're an awesome individual. You're better than like almost all the ones we've talked to. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry.
It's because you guys have a story, and if you don't share your story, someone's going to write it for you. And the goal is to really for you guys to share your story.
Yeah, I like you. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my time is up. I hate to say that, but please come back to this show anytime in the future. I really had a great time sharing a conversation with you.
Me too. Would you please add us on Instagram and send us a message, and we can keep in touch?
Absolutely. We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Oh. All right. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
You bet. You be brilliant today, you two.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Oh.